I was stuck in the winter doldrums in frozen New England. I fled to sunny New Mexico. My spirit stirred, and filled with joy and reawakened creativity, I reemerged too. And when I got back, spring was finally defeating the frigid wasteland of the winter I had left behind. Hi, I'm Marcy from Sketchbook Scheming, and in this vlog, I share some springtime projects that filled me with joy.
Oh yeah! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Another one just came out!
Okay, sorry for that hysterical outburst, but who could blame me? 7 fox babies emerged from under my shed to frolic and play in my front yard.
There's at least 7.
I could not get enough of seeing these little scamps running around chasing each other, but after 4 sightings over a couple of days, they moved on. They moved way too fast for me to capture them in my sketchbook, but who even cares if the art is so-so? When I look at my sketchbook pages, my joy and wonder during those moments comes flooding back to me. We spent the early spring helping to get our local tennis club ready for the new season. Here, my younger son and my husband are digging a massive hole, part of an effort to replace a pickleball fence that was falling down.
Oh yeah!
So when I say stratification, it's basically these native seeds need to get really cold in the winter. They need to get a little moist.
And I want to share an update on the milkweed seeds I had sown 2 winters ago as part of a workshop on winter seed sowing to attract native pollinators. I hope to get some monarch butterflies in my yard.
Look at that, 3 levels. 1, right? 2, 3 spouting. Nope, that's 3. That's a full bloom 3.
My little seedlings have been in jeopardy throughout their short lives. I watered them twice a day during a heat wave, and they grew bigger and stronger throughout the summer. But then they were suddenly infested by aphids, so thick in some areas that the plants looked yellow. I tried to pull them off with my fingers, so gross, and I tried to gently blow them off with a hose. My plants seemed doomed. But then one day, I noticed that all of the aphids were gone. Maybe due to the cooler weather? I don't know. But then we abandoned them for a month-long trip to glorious Italy, a dream trip come true for us, but my plants were dried up and collapsed when we returned. I didn't know if the roots underneath had survived for them to re-emerge in the springtime, but look, they are thriving once again. I'll give an update if they attract any monarch butterflies. Maybe it was my milkweed plants re-emerging that got me thinking of beetles, those little critters hiding underground, breaking down all the decaying bits and pieces to the benefit of the soil. I love their various colors, shapes, and sizes, perfect for collaging with these bright papers I painted. For my first beetle, I started with its body shape, and I started to glue on different shapes of red to represent the beetle's stripes on the wings and the head. I trimmed off the excess and glued the wings to the body, and I decided to leave the wings a little bit open. I traced the shape of the legs and the antenna onto a piece of collage paper, and I think I rightly decided to keep them all together rather than deal with each little leg separately. So then I was able to just glue that to the bottom of my beetle to see my finished form of my first beetle. This beetle has a pretty goofy looking head and sort of expression suggested by the dots on his shell. And I ended up making him kind of inadvertently even goofier looking, but I love his bright colors and his goofy appearance. This third beetle had the simplest design of them all, I would say. I really like his classic yellow and black look and the organic shapes I was able to get into its markings. And then I had just one more beetle to tackle. If you ever see this beetle called Paul in the wild, it's best to just let it be. Sorry, wrong beetle there. And with his finished head, my Fab Four were complete. Here's a look at my finished collages in my sketchbook, along with the sketches and swatches. If you know me, you may know that I have a bit of a thing for animal-headed humanoids, and the next project I'd like to share is a little human lady with the head of a barn owl. Unlike my other animal-headed dolls, for this one I let the colors and dotted pattern of a barn owl inspire the clothing. So I used creams and tans and browns, and I also made my first ever Jon Snow inspired cloak. I collaged the barn owl's head by starting with the largest shape in the back and slowly adding on layers in the different colors until I built up the shape of my barn owl. And for another first among my animal-headed dolls, I made this little lady able to twist her head in honor of the amazing ability of barn owls to rotate their heads 270 degrees. I used a little brad to attach her head to the body, and right there you saw I marked where I wanted the head to sit with a little bit of paint. And then I was able to glue the brad onto the back of her head. I didn't have to do much scheming to figure out how to get her into my sketchbook. She would live in a barn, of course. I was glad to use up some of my cache of brown paper grocery bags. I cut them into strips and painted them with brown, acrylic of varying shades, and I really loved adding the gray and white streaks with the toothbrush to give that old barnwood look. I think it came out really good and is a cozy home for my little lady. The final creation that I want to share today also allowed me to use up a cache of some old supplies. I had made an album cover design inspired by Led Zeppelin 3, and I ordered a whole bunch of tiny color printouts of some of my artwork to use as the fodder for that album design. In this project, I create a sketchbook-sized art studio featuring the little printouts in some custom frames. I had a lot of fun gilding this frame in some gold leaf, and I had a black background that showed through a little bit when I scratched it with the toothbrush to create some texture. I sketched out myself as an artist painting at an easel. I did make myself right-handed to help the composition, but other than that, I'd say it's pretty accurate. I was even able to use up a tiny bit of the gorgeous marbled paper I had picked up in Italy that I have no idea what to do with. And these gray panels kind of helped with the perspective for the side walls, and my sketchbook-sized art studio was complete. I made these little windows to be able to see the paintings from the previous spread, and this allowed me to use up a lot more of the little pictures that I would love to use up someday. And here's how the spreads ended up looking in my sketchbook. I want to thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Subscribe.
Often sketching, always scheming.
Hey there.
Often sketching, always
Hi there.
scheming.
Your mama.
Sketchbook scheming, yeah.